The Classy Gourmet, where you will learn secrets from the top chefs in the area.
Today we're going to start with 2 filet mignons. We're going to make a nice little dinner for 2. So we've got the fillets from Omaha Steaks. They're already cut, ready to go. We're going to season them with a little pepper and just a little bit of salt. And then we're going to pan sear these fillets instead of broiling them. I've got a slightly preheated pan. I'm going to turn the heat up a bit here. We're going to start with a little bit of clarified butter, about a tablespoon of clarified butter. You don't need a lot. You want to make sure that pan's good and hot because you want to get those steaks in there and you want to sear them. By searing the steaks, what you're doing is you're making the meat more flavorful and you're keeping the juices inside of the meat. Now I put them in salt and pepper side down, so we'll give it just a little more pepper on the other side. And a little more salt. And these cook very fast. They're very lean. We're going to serve them about medium rare. So in a real hot pan, what you want to do is turn them on their sides. You don't want to turn them all the way over. And what we're doing is we're pan searing the fillets on all sides so we get a nice, good crust on the steak. And we'll have a nice medium rare center, which will prove to be a very flavorful steak. And what we're going to do today with these steaks, once we make the sauce, well, we're going to make a very classical, old-style French sauce. It's very easy to make and very delicate. As you see, we're searing the filet on all sides. The sauce is kind of a surprise today. We're going to do an old traditional port wine and raisin sauce. And you don't really think of port wine, raisin, and filet mignon together, but it's actually a great accompaniment. What I have here, I have some raisins, just plain old California raisins that I soaked overnight in some port wine. When you do that, you macerate the raisins. They fill up with that port wine flavor and get very, very soft. Back to the filet over here. We just want to make sure we get it good and golden brown on all sides. At this point now, you want to pour some of that port wine on them and get it steaming really good. Don't be afraid of that, it won't hurt you. But you get a lot of that port wine flavor into the steak. We're going to add a little more port wine. Now we don't want to boil the steak, so we're going to take them out of that wine right away. Put them on their serving plates. And over here, we're going to put about 4 ounces of reduced veal stock. Now, veal stock is something that you can buy, or it's something that you can make. Here at the Classy Gourmet, we have some very excellent instant beef stocks. But this happens to be a veal stock. It's much milder than a beef stock and has a lot more subtle of a flavor. I'm going to add just a little more veal stock. What we want to do is reduce this down now so that it gets real strong and real intense in flavor. I'm going to add the raisins. Now, if you make your own veal stock, it's not going to be very salty, but if you use one that you buy that's already made, it could be very salty. But since I made this, I know it's very light in salt, so I'm going to add just a little salt to it. But if you use a commercial one, you want to make sure that you taste it before you salt it. I'm going to add a little more pepper because I want it to have a nice little kick to it. And then we're going to get this as high as we can and get it reduced down. And then at the very end, we're just going to put a little bit of fresh unsalted butter into it. And what that'll do is it'll make the sauce very silky and very shiny. It'll give it a lot more flavor. So what we're going to put in here is about 1.5 tablespoons. And as you can see, the sauce is reducing. The butter is emulsifying into the sauce, which is making the sauce itself richer and creamier. Once you get that butter in there, you want to reduce it down just a little bit more. You can just smell the wonderful port wine and the stock coming together here. As you're cooking the raisins, they seem to expand more and just have a lot more flavor. And this sauce and this same preparation will work on any type of steak, or it's also very good on some kinds of wild game. Some of the really rich wild games, the sweetness of the port and the sweetness of the mushroom, or of the raisin, really add a lot to the harshness of some wild game. Anyways, you spoon the sauce over it. And you would serve this with any kind of roasted or mashed potato and a fresh steamed vegetable and a pretty beefy type of Burgundy or Pinot Noir. That's a traditional French dish, the filet mignon pan-seared with a port wine and raisin sauce.